Hello, everybody. I am your androgynous android late night DJ, Nathan Blades, and this is the Neon Caster Twitch channel. How are you all doing, everybody? Thank you for waiting for one of these sessions coming through. It's been a hot second since we did one last. Schedules didn't line up. I am so overjoyed to bring back our favorite lo-fi crime drama, Chant of the Void Sea. And once again, we have our fabulous guests. We're going to go from top to bottom in the list, what you can see on screen. Please, everybody, welcome the one and only Tom Greenwood.
Hello, everybody. It's good to be back again after causing delays from last week.
It's all good, it's all good, it's all good. And once again, Ruben in the building.
Tankfly Boss Walk Gem Nitty Gritty. You're listening to me. It's the little boy in the stream. Hi, everyone.
The lead proprietor of the Come and Go Tavern, Sheila Ornthalis.
Hello, everybody, and how are you doing today? I hope you're having a wonderful evening, or an afternoon, as the case may be.
Mm-hmm. And the unknowable entity with a habit for gunplay, the one and only Captain Comic Geek. Hello.
Hi, everyone. Is Max Headroom my great-grandfather? Who knows?
That's such a good pull. When I designed my VTuber avatar, I was like, yeah. Max Headroom meets Grace Jones was the specific vibe. So yes, we are birds of a feather, you and I. Excellent. We're gonna go and pass it over to our little credits crawl, just to let people know who made this and who put it together. Fabulous art from all of us, including Captain Comic Geek for a lot of the HUD elements of the stream, which I do love. Even though it's been a little while since we last did this, I have been thinking very, very hard about the session that's come to hand. This has definitely ended up being an incredibly dramatic campaign, and depending on where things shake out after this sesh, there are maybe, I think, 2 sessions left of Chant of the Void Sea. Obviously, the dice tell the stories that they want to tell, but we, I think, are rapidly approaching the end of this little tale, so I hope everybody has been enjoying it so far. Okay. I'm prepared and ready. I have aligned my chakras. I have centered myself. And I am ready to go out here and do my best. So if all of y'all are also vibing, let's bring it on through and bring you session 6 of Chant of the Void Sea. It's Raining Clouds. All right. Let's get a jam going. One of my favorites. Hello, people of Duskval. You're listening to the smooth sounds of Golden Hour Radio. I'm your host, AU. I'm gold, baby. Your monthly dive into our deep-roasted lo-fi crime drama has been brought to you by the fine folks of Phantom Arts Entertainment. Even with a heist on the bunker house brewing, the city of Duskval never stops. Coffee is being poured, the rich gossip behind closed doors, intense meetings about the city's ongoing harmony is being had. I'll keep it simple. Today's a bad day to be practicing ocean magic out in the open. The Church of the Weeping Lady are acting like weaving miracles into mantras is something they've got a patent on, and they're leaning heavily on the cops to enforce any infractions. The spirit wardens have switched from keeping ghosts at bay to direct arson of any homes they suspect of subnautical skullduggery. In times like this, where gangs and illicit free agents are on the cusp of eating themselves, would turn to the unseen to step in and keep the peace. But after their leader was axed a year ago, they've been awfully quiet. I daren't say what that means about the new leader of the unseen. After all, who knows if they or their informants are tuning in. But I hope they are. I could do with the listeners. But what I do know, listeners, if you have a friend or a loved one who dabbles in the acoustic arcane arts of ocean magic and you've not heard from them lately, you best drop the bunker house a line. The Weeping Lady folks may have well put them in a private sermon. But better that than becoming a pile of ash, right? Before we drop the needle and get things started, a reminder. You probably already know, but I'll say it once again. This is a story about terrible people doing terrible things. Sometimes for the right reasons. We'll likely be hitting on themes of fictional religious politics, incarceration, police violence and corruption, pointed bloody violence, and accounts of claustrophobia. Still your heart and enjoy the horror at your own pace. So get comfortable, pour yourself something strong and sip it slow. You're locked into Chant of the Void Sea. But before we go to our live report of Smile the Widest and their field investigation of the bunker house, we have some special guests to guide you through some need-to-knows on avoiding the clutches of those who say they're keeping the peace. Yes, y'all. With me tonight are two individuals from the community who have seen what's out there and turned to the golden hour as the best way to spread the key knowledge on how to protect your neck. These names are fake, but their stories are definitely real. Please allow me to introduce Timothy Sanders.
Thank you very much for having me on the show, Mr. AU. It's much appreciated to be able to stand here and speak out for the people of the docks area.
And the illustriously named Cauliflower Horrible.
Pleasure.
So, tell me, Timothy, from what part of Duskfall do you hail from, and what have you been seeing lately?
Well, I work at the Duskfall Docks Youth Society. Volunteer. It was an initiative to help teach skills to some of the kids who can't obviously afford the educational services that the city offers the richer members of society. But we've been putting a lot of effort into setting ourselves up a new Electrovox antenna around the back of the hall. We've gone through the processes. We've had the the Spark Rights come round, set it all up. We've paid the people that you need to pay. But then last night we were attacked. There'd been some graffiti sprayed on the edge of the building during the previous night, and we thought nothing of it, and the kids were helping clean it off. But then, as night was falling, there were spirit ones, but they didn't reveal themselves or declare anything. They attacked. They assaulted members of the society. They set fire to the building. We managed to get it out once they left, but. So the gangs are just running the city now. Even though, previously you could trust the people that you bribed to, at least carry out what they do. But they came out of nowhere and they've set us back for months.
Yeah, well, you have my condolences. I appreciate the sharing of the arts of Electrovox technology. As you can probably tell, I'm an enthusiast myself, but I'm not one to gatekeep. Being able to share the knowledge is one way to, make sure that everybody knows how to get up and do something useful for their community, you know what I'm saying? So
absolutely.
It breaks my heart in two to hear that people who, last I checked, the spirit wardens were supposed to keep us safe from any ghostly incursions, but I think setting houses on fire is a good way to put some new ghosts in the community.
Yeah, we've got people who are manning the educational stations, running guard shifts now throughout the community because can't really feel safe out in the street. So we're putting an open call as well for people to want to make maybe house calls for kids who want to maybe learn something extra. Maybe join the nightly cordons. That would be great. Help the community stay safe.
Yeah, and I'm willing to do my part as well if it would help. I'm not what you'd really call an educator. My went to the school of hard knocks, if you know what I'm saying. But if you happen to have any of the educational materials in a way that I can read, I can be more than happy to put out a broadcast so people can learn from home, if that would help.
Listen, honey, I make transistor radios for all the kids in their little homes, right? And the first thing they tune into every morning before they go to the little, poor schools for the religious schools, is AU. And they know the intro by heart. So if you could do a show for them, devoted to them, that would make that week.
Oh, well, that's awfully kind. I didn't realize I had consistently such a young listenership. I may have to lighten up on whether we play any of the more explicit records in my collection. But good to know that there are listeners of all ages out there. So, Horrible, have you been seeing any arson attacks in your neck of the woods lately, or has it just been?
See, you can't say safe. I'm from across the river, right? From where the coal factories are.
Mm.
So there's arson, there's toxins. I heard a lot of people in more the urbanized places in the city have to deal with a lot of more hate-related attacks. So we're trying to get people organized, trying to get protection going up. But yeah, we've been seeing a lot more arson and lately as a tool, really, just to. I guess to show people that they're there, in a bad way.
And they've all been, well, I guess we gotta kind of recognize the kind of people that are doing this sort of thing. You said, Timothy, that they were wearing masks of the Spirit Wardens?
Absolutely, definitely. Recognise the uniforms, but they didn't make any announcements, just other than warn the people that take graffiti seriously. I think they're using it as markers. I've heard tales that there's been other people in a similar situation. But yeah, it's a gang out of control. I don't know who's supposed to be running them now, but they were always one of the more reliable. They were like the city's second fire brigade, but now they're like the city's second fire brigade. They'll say, but in a bad way.
Yeah. Well, what can I say except you gotta kind of do your best to keep your locals safe. Before we move on to plan our next record for the day, do either of you have any particular advice for the listeners out there about how they can keep themselves safe until they can find a better place to getting on?
Timothy?
I was going to say, the only way we can beat this is by staying together. The community spirits of Dosfall, the Docklands especially, we're stronger than these people. They may be dangerous, but in groups we can provide a united front, and so we won't be intimidated by them.
That, and if you see a unknown electronic structure, you can use a magnetic device to this, and then sort of the cutoff happens before.
Hey, we gotta make sure that the people who are fully tuned in to how Electrovox works, there's a little bit of mystery, but thank you so much for the two of you for spending time on Golden Hour Radio. Once again, I have been your host, AU. I'm Gold, baby, and well, my voice will always be here for you. And we would like to wish that were true for everybody within Duskfall. As it happens, there are people who are trying to do the best they can in the circumstances they are in, but those threats, that graffiti left outside buildings is not something to be ignored. Timothy was right. They are using it as a marker to go and find others, sometimes on a hunch, and sometimes they do actually manage to, I suppose, find what they're looking for. please. Roll 20. There we go. We find ourselves very briefly in well, it's hard to call this a terrace, and it's definitely not a flat. This is this almost multiple regular buildings, regular houses built, connected side to side, top to bottom, stacked on top of each other. Now that the space to spread out is limited, buildings have started to build up. And we zoom inside of one of these windows, one of these homes stacked on top of each other, and we see two people at work practicing an unusual artwork together. How about Sheila, Captain, we get a description of what the two people in the room look like, and then we get to see what art they're working on together.
Sheila, you can go first.
You know, it helps if I unmute myself because I had been trying to describe. I feel like this happens every time.
You good?
So yes, I'm gonna have my person be a kind of very scrunched up looking, almost like sunbeaten is definitely the word I would use here. His face is more wrinkles than flat area, and there is just an explosion of beard kind of rimming the bottom half with kind of the one of those generic sort of sailor's caps up top. If you've seen The Lighthouse, you kind of know the look I'm going for here.
And I think for my guy, he's very... I think the word is gaunt. I think he's clearly skipped a few meals in his time. Very sleep deprived, just unkempt. Clothes probably look a little too big on him. Hair very messy. Yeah.
And this room is furnished enough to be able to be comfortable to sleep in, but it's sparse. You don't spend all of your time here. Just when you need to work away from the people who know you and your regular lives. It's always easier to create when you feel that you're being unbothered, and this place has been your best hideout yet. You've been able to work here for an entire year without being bothered. Maybe you have to placate the neighbors a little bit, but that's easy enough to do. What's today's art project?
I think I want to go with... Oh, go for it.
I had something in my head.
Go for it.
Where like there is a center table, and it is almost like a spirographs kind of situation. Where there is like a ring that we could put different incantations around to make it move, and then in the center of that, of like the kind of center of the table, not the center of the ring, you can put something else that if you want to modify. So like yeah, like I said, it's Spiograph set up where there's basically a ring that you can draw incantations on that spins, and center of the table you can put an item to do that, and then off to the side of the table I would imagine different inks and paints that you can mix different materials into to modify the sigils that you would put on this ring. So if Sheila would like to pitch up what we are doing on top of this table, keep your mind out the gutter.
Yes, well, you know, that's where I live, though. But let's say that we are... Can I get a little lofty with the concept? Do you mind that?
Please.
All right. So we are trying to chart the movements of the Leviathans in a way that might even predict them. Think kind of very ancient Greek and or Roman star charts sort of concept, where the predictions may or may not be 100% correct, but even in their incorrectness, there is some mathematical thing there that feels meaningful. And the spirographs are a part of that. They help us simulate the flow of the ocean as it is known to the sailors of the area. and I feel like the various inks and things are used to track the various pods of leviathans as they go, so that we can sort of separate them out and see how they intermingle and how the colors change as the generations flow and those sorts of all wonderful things.
Good ocean magic takes time, but that's fine. You have all the time in the world to do it, and you've been working on this particular project, as I say, for quite a while, and it feels like it is coming to fruition. If nothing else, this magic would be of incredible benefit to shipping companies, and well, you wouldn't necessarily want to give it to Leviathan whalers, but it would make getting to and from Duskfall by sea safer than it's ever been. The heady aroma of the various inks and the herbs that were required to make them, and the incense that you've burned to perform the ritual sits within your nose, and then there's an undertone of something hot, something acrid. That's smoke. There is a loud thud on the door 3 times. Very firm, very confident.
You want to go get that one?
Okay. He'll walk up to the door and just open it a crack, just so you can see through it.
Almost like waiting like a tensed predator for a movement. You only need to let the door open a crack before large, strong, heavily weathered fingers push their way through and grab the door frame with a crack.
I have suspicion that there are magic practitioners in this building. I don't suppose you would know anything about that, would you?
We haven't done anything. We haven't done anything.
That's not what I'm asking. Do you happen to know if there are any magic practitioners in this building?
Can my guy hear this?
I think, despite the bassiness of this man's voice, it is loud enough to project. You can hear.
Of course there is. I mean, there's magic everywhere at this point. You got people who are,
And he kind of sidles forward up to the doorway.
I mean, you got people casting charms and stuff just to get through the day, help protect themselves on the way to school, on the way to work, on the way home, on the way to the bar. It's all over the place.
Yes, well, under current city ordinance, such uses of magic are unfortunately illegal. So, we've been enlisted to make sure to sweep this area and ensure there is no untoward activity. Maze, can you sense anything in there?
I love the timing on the music there.
There is the hand pushes against the door, and despite any kind of physical protest from the magicians working in here, it is not enough to stem the tide of this as the door is opened. Just weathered mountain of a man, and a very energetic, or at least wired, young woman standing behind him.
I said, Maze, can you sense anything in there?
Tom, please, I'm begging you.
Oh, sorry, was I? Yeah. Apologies, Nathan.
You're good.
Oh yes, absolutely. The place positively reeks of it.
There is a hefty shove aside as walking. The way this man moves feels like he looks like he could easily walk through you into the room, just like you weren't even there.
Absolutely plastered against the wall as soon as that door is open. Like, just terror.
Now, you are the more magically forensic inclined of the two of us, Maze. What does this table do?
He takes his steel-toed boot and just kind of like shoves a bit of the table.
The gaunt one, me, would just go, no, don't!
Ah,
Stand down, or I will make you. I will look towards Brutus. Certainly something exceedingly dangerous. The place supposedly reeks of unholy herbs and demon's blood spit on the floor.
Demonology.
Brutus Campbell turns round to the two of you still in the doorway.
You're practicing demonology here? That's very grave.
no. It's, granted, there is a little bit of Leviathan blood. I don't know where this voice is going at this point, but there's a little bit of Leviathan blood in some of the inks. It's all above the board. We've been, what's the word? Contracted by some of the shipping companies in port to kind of help them create some more accurate navigational maps
Are
for
you
them.
calling my colleague Maze a liar?
Not at all, good sir.
Very much simpering at this point.
And I'm just trying to clear up any misconceptions that may be present about the origins of some of our materials and what they're being used for and who they're being used for. Those sorts of things. Like I said, we're all above the board, I swear.
Right. Well,
Very
yes.
obvious loading of an Electrovox pistol going on in the background, opening up and checking number of cartridges and clicking it back.
Well, thank you for your cooperation. I think I've seen all I need to see here. Maze? Burn
boss.
it.
Be a swing round. The younger of the two who Captain's been voicing takes a crack from to the face from May's outstretched hand. Oh yes, there's plenty flammable in here. This table should go up quite well. Gosh.
Oh. I think at the hearing that, my guy's gonna run for it. He's gonna try and make his way. If the door is blocked, maybe the closest window.
Funnily
You tell me.
enough, Brutus and Layla being in the room, the doorway is clear for you to try and escape through.
Oh, he's running for it then.
We have an escaped suspect. I am in pursuit, Layla. You finish up here and then join me post-haste.
Absolutely, sir. I'll be with you in a tick. Probably the image of Brutus leaving us a couple of like green flashes from the windows of the building. It sounds the very noble sound of an Electrovox pistol being discharged.
The and all the soundtrack hears really is the sound of growing flames crackling against wood, heavy footsteps, and a yell. And so the spirit wardens, or at least their more extremist wing, continue to do their work of removing all magistrans in Doskval. But this story is not necessarily about those two. Not right now. No, our story lies elsewhere. In Char Hollow, in a very elegant building. The nicest building in a very poor area. The Bunker House. After all, as previously mentioned, our members of Smile the Widest have travelled here with the express purpose of finding out information. Well, to find out information on a one Ben Whitworth, who was apparently arrested and sent here. To find out information about one of Adelaide's old contacts, Bert Graham, who, after death, got in contact with him to mention that he had been arrested, interrogated, and killed. And for the one, well, celebrity witch, Dashir Locklear, to find Abel Islington, Chief Detective Abel Islington of the Bluecoats, and under Lila May's request, kill him. But where do we start? There are many potential avenues for this journey to begin. Yeah, where would we like to look first for the camera? Do we resume with Reed within the building? Are we outside with Adelaide, Blacksmith, and Dash as they prepare to find a way in? Adelaide is holding on to the electrogram, the Electrovox technology that combines radio with typewriter that can receive messages on the air, and apparently, we found out recently, communicate with ghosts.
Did we do a meanwhile scene for the rest of the cast while Reed was talking to the administrator?
We have not. You split ways, and then we focused on the administrator conversation, so we haven't been back outside since last session.
Then I'll cue down.
Okay. We are outside of the bunker house. This is, I assume, to be like outside of the grounds. You know, there's the big gate and the stone fences. It's not under heavy security. After all, this place exists, according to the Church of the Weeping Lady, as a rehabilitation for the poor and wayward, those with a criminal history and no skills to rejoin the workplace have been sent to the bunker house for room and board and skill development opportunities. And of course, you're allowed to take a tour. It's always nice to see how members of the community are becoming closer and more useful to their fellow men.
Oh yes, of course. You know, because the biggest measure of a person's worth is how useful they are.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Did we have a plan for getting in here past sort of just being visitors, or because I vaguely remember us having a conversation about what we were going to do once we were actually inside, but
we have
player does not.
But hey,
okay,
because we are playing a fusion of Spire and Blades in the Dark, this is the ideal time for us to reincorporate the use of flashbacks. For those who are unfamiliar with Blades of the Dark, one of the things I do love about it is that it stops over planning for a mission to encourage everybody to go straight in by using flashbacks to go and cover instances where you would have prepared for something had this been your plan all along. And we can do that here. So if we want, we can even start mildly in medias res if you would like, for example, to be on a tour within the building, or crammed into a kitchen, or sneaking down a back alley. I will take whatever method of entry you think is sensible and interesting for the three of you to attempt. You could even be split up if you'd like.
I was tempted to suggest a sneaky way into this one, rather than in through the front door. 'Cause technically, we've got Reed going in that way for on that side. So if we've got this as the sort of advanced party, sort of in disguise, and going round the back and trying to find to the areas that regular bits that the public wouldn't be able to get to normally.
Okay, disguises, first of all. Love that. What you all disguised as?
I think I'm going to go with Adelaide is disguised as sort of a newspaper reporter sort of person. So without the normal coat, more of a kind of well-worn slacks and a vest and rolled-up sleeves on his button-up shirt, and is trying to play off the idea of the mechanism he has as, this is something to allow me to instantly transmit any interviews to the paper, kind of thing, you know.
I think Dash will be taking the look for one of the priests of the. I'm trying desperately not to say none, but that's immediately where my brain's gone to, so we'll go with that. Who, if at a push, we can potentially use it to get to other areas, or Adelaide can just pretend to be interviewing me.
Does this place have like security?
Yes. It feels like, and I'm not going to stray, I'll say this now, I'm not going to stray too much into the kind of literal tropes of like escape the asylum cinema, because that has some horrendous things to kind of say about mental health of people. But some of the visual aesthetics, the idea of there being medical aides who are literally just bodyguards in medical scrubs, is definitely something that this building is likely to have, in addition to stuff like groundskeepers.
Ooh, okay. So Bask would love to be dressed up like, I guess, like an orderly in the situation.
Thank you for the word. I didn't know it.
Yeah, I'm here for you. If it's easy to acquire those, that's probably what he would like to do, because it'd be a little bit easier for him to move around unquestioned.
And we're not going to worry about the acquisition of those things, because I don't think that's especially exciting. So you have them, and we are already maybe in picture-in-picture. We see a four-way split of Adelaide and Dash sitting in the kind of like public dining cafeteria area, setting up for an interview. If that's fine with the both of you as like a location where you could feasibly be.
Yep.
We see Bask kind of standing in the corner to the door that would be leading people to kind of like the dormitory area of the same room, because it all connects. You know, all the residents of this building need to be able to eat in a public place, and they've made it actually quite pretty. In fact, we'll even get a shot of it, and it'll be a room that we have seen before. Reed had very previously been having a conversation with the administrator here, although neither of them are there at this moment. Reed, on the other hand, is in the corridor of the building, one of the many corridors of the building, standing outside the administrator's office, having been led quite swiftly from the room after their philosophical disagreement.
Holding still the coffer filled with bandages. Didn't take my gift.
So, with that established now, I'm sorry to reassert with that. I like that setup. Are we going to be with focusing on the we continue to focus on the dining room for now, and this interview / seance that will occur?
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Wonderful. You set up the electrogram. It's not difficult. It takes a little bit to do. This is technology you're not familiar with, and fortunately, Foreman Cole Umber did provide rigging and de-rigging instructions of this technology, so it could be set up safely without breaking. There is the familiar electrical hum in the air from turning the thing on. Dash, you don't encounter this type of technology, or you don't encounter this particular phenomenon very often, but you are aware that the schools of Ocean and Electrovox magic are separate enough where trying to have both of those in the same space can cause a discordance. It's similar to when if you've ever had two tones or two tuning forks or two sounds that are slightly out of phase of each other, and to your ears it feels like there is a gap between their ringing. The hum of the Electrovox creates these gaps in the air as it alternately synchronizes and clashes against the ambient ocean magic that this building radiates.
That will set a teeth on edge. That's anything that messes around with magic that can either disturb the dead or ripples in dimensions. Little disturbances like this have the tendency to escalate.
Mm-hmm.
Let's try not to keep this on for too long, hey Adelaide?
Well, yeah. It'll have to be on as long as it needs to be to get some answers, but yeah, I agree. And in the flashback, can we have agreed upon, like, here's a set of questions and done enough research that the answers to those questions sound convincing to anybody who maybe just kind of casually listening in?
I love that. I love that, especially since we did manage to, I think, establish at the time that you could also type on the typewriter and the ghost could see. So you can absolutely ask a question and type something else, you know, that kind of thing. But with your mention of gathering information, I would like to reveal 2 clocks for you both, for you all, not just you both.
They're ours. You can't see them.
The gather information clock, which is a 4 segment. Every time you make a roll to try and find something going on about this building and what's going on within it, you'll fill in segments of this. How many segments you fill is depending on the degree of success. When filling in this clock, you may not make the same roll twice. So, for example, if you make a investigate technology, as you might for operating the electrogram, you may not make another investigate technology roll again while the clock is unfilled. Once the clock is filled, it resets, and the range of rolls you can do open again. But every time it fills, you get to ask, well, any questions you want, and you gain it as essentially evidence in your Phoenix Wright style dossier for you to be able to use for the future.
Rolls.
And you can truly ask anything. It might want to be tangentially related to the scene and circumstances that you are in, but this is the abstract representation of all of what you're gathering within this space.
Hey, Ghost, how are you?
The other clock, which is also important to reveal. Bunker House on alert. Doing things that would draw attention to yourself, failed rolls or otherwise, will fill in this. This will only fill in once. But once it's filled, well, the clock says what it does. And with that in mind, Adelaide, how about you make a roll for me for operating the electrogram?
Okay. So let's see. You said investigate and technology.
As an example, if you have a sensible alternative, I am all ears.
Well,
I have a maybe.
Do you have
compel? Because you're sort of like compelling a conversation with ghosts.
I could see that, yeah.
I'm open to that as a...
If we're specifically trying to use the tech, I feel like the technology part has to happen, but I think I like compel for this one.
And let's get a compel technology going.
So we've got our base die, and then it's an additional die for every pip, yes?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, so I've got 2 dice. Hooray.
Hey, it's better than nothing.
It certainly is.
Roll them bones. Oh,
Good stuff.
very,
Good stuff.
very
Okay,
good.
second dice.
No. Not gonna question it.
I love that. You get things up and running, and it is immediate. Before, it felt like, well, it worked as it was intended long before your friend got in touch with you. But it almost feels as if he was waiting for the opportunity to communicate with you again. Adelaide. Adelaide, you're here.
Typing out as I'm talking, saying something else. So it's a little bit stuttered in the actual typing speed just because of that disconnect.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I'm here. I'm in the bunker house. What can you tell me?
And the messaging through is much clearer this time. Before it was kind of scattered, inconsistent, repetitive, but you can tell while you're here and at this range that your connection to Bert Graham is incredibly strong. Repeat the question you asked again, sorry?
Well, I left it off at what can you tell me?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I should follow that up with something along the lines of
I mean,
where
it's
do
a
we
crit.
start?
You can get a follow-up question for free. It's fine.
Sure. Where do we start? I guess is the follow-up question. Because of course, we're whatever question I ask now, we're gonna have follow-ups.
First of all, you are going to need to go and find the interrogation rooms. They're in the basement of this building behind lock and key. They took me there with my head covered so I could not see the way. They clearly do fear incursion from the outside, trying to find the secrets they lay within. But it is unlikely to be just me there. There are many that they took. Many of my colleagues at the academy. I was one of the last, actually. When they finally decided it was my turn to be spirited away to the bunker house, they asked me if I knew anybody else who was partaking in magic that they considered heretical. And I said that I didn't know anybody aside from the text that I read and the people I was researching with, and they said that they had already spoken to them and they needed more. I couldn't offer more. And then I racked my brain. I remembered a conversation I had with you. You said that you had started working for an artist who performed magic that surprised you, and I thought that could satisfy them. But I realize that means they're probably coming for you too. Coming for the person that you worked for. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
And he'll respond, while still asking questions again, now the word none is in my brain too.
Sister Lockley.
So yes, Sister Lockley. And what brought you to the service of others? But the actual questions that he's typing down are the statement. The next statement is, I understand. Everyone has their limits. What else can you tell me? How did they torture you?
First of all, let's get some artwork for Bert Graham, since your connection here is very, very clear. I'm going to here, frame by frame on this, insofar as the finer details of this will be glossed over.
Sure.
I think, and this is a text that both Adelaide and Dash can read, is detailed. He believes that you would need to know all this information and spares no detail. It is horrendous. Not all of it was things that he directly experienced, but through what he could hear, and when he was put into holding cells and was able to communicate with the other weak and tired individuals who had also been taken, what they recounted as having been done to them. For example, we did see the tattoo artist Matthias Van Roy, who Bert mentions by name, having been taken in for having tattoos that could be considered demonic in origin, replicas of stuff that you've done before, Dash, that Matthias has tried to replicate as an artist to understand your working. And he had the skin removed, bandaged so it could heal. Whether it heals well is not really to the interest of those who took him away and did that to him.
Adelaide will notice an immediate change of Dash's demeanour. One thing of attacking people she considers her family is her most bold of red lines, although she, for now, keeps her cool. We see very telltale things of carrying on the interview, but a particular verbal tick probably coming through a little bit, and you can see her gripping quite hard into the arms of the chair.
They took blood samples of all of us, trying to find a way that they could determine at distance or immediately whether somebody had, they said, corruption within them. But if I understand it correctly, the magic that I was researching, that I was practicing, that Dash is practicing, Dashio Locklear is practicing, he would use your full name, is exactly what they do. Hypocrites. I died to hypocrites.
I'm trying to think of a good next question to say out loud.
This might be your last until the connection moves away for now, but yes.
Oh, no. I meant just for the sake of carrying on the official interview as maybe.
Dash probably picking up on Adelaide's hesitation also. I could tell you about the important people in the Order who would be more involved in some of the workings of the innermost nature of the place. Also, dropping a bit of a...
Yes, I believe that would be much appreciated. Thank you. So tell me about some of these important folks who, kind of keep the wheels turning, as it were.
You get names. They are not. Some of them are ones that, as far as our narrative today, is not especially concerned about in terms of medical staff and things like that. The administrator is mentioned. There is no actual first name given. It is just the administrator, as is Reverend Bergamot. He apparently has repeatedly visited the building, usually to receive reports from findings of people being taken in. He seems to be finding the names. The Bluecoats have been going out and retrieving those names. And then after investigations are held, they speak to Bergamot again. Sometimes they are let go. Sometimes.
It is not the staff of the Weeping Lady you have to concern yourself with, but who they have allied to have this circumstance happen so smoothly. If the Weeping Lady tried to do an enterprise like this alone, they would have been stopped by the Bluecoats, if not angry members of the public, but by allying directly with the Bluecoats in a unified goal. I don't know what the Bluecoats want out of this, but they're all more than willing to offer all of their resources on helping find each and every person who could know. You practice a dangerous art, Dashia Locklear.
Will look a little bit confident, however, won't respond to the ghost at this point.
Adelaide.
Yes.
You have been in... I couldn't have asked for a greater friend. I apologize that I have been... And at this point, the, signal starts to become indistinct, and the text, the characters are laying over each other, or are missing, or are spacing out. I apologize that I was unable to see you as frequently as I would like, but still... I hope that the memories of the times we spent together will... And the signal goes dead. The buzzing of the Electrovox has been getting... Oh, the Electrogram has been getting louder and louder, and now it is like a large speaker with an aux cable partially pulled of the way out. It's making a distractingly loud noise.
I think that he's going to sort of begin to shut things down and say something along the lines of, it sounds like my mechanism is starting to overheat a little bit, so perhaps we should pack things up here and maybe do a bit of a tour of the grounds. Would that be amenable to you?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, we'll go and have a look at some of the area, shall we?
Yes, excuse me. What's going on here? A member of the bunker house kind of steps up. A woman. I heard a terribly loud noise, and many of the inpatients are complaining of having a terrible headache. What is this device you brought in here?
Oh, it's just a newfangled thing that allows us to report back to the newspaper significantly faster than me hoofing it across the city with a bum leg would.
The newspaper?
Yes. Lance Byers, ma'am. Part of the Evening Chronicle.
A newspaper? Her face is confused, and then you see, a worrying undercurrent of alarm starting to bubble. May I ask what you're doing a report on here? We are... If I was not notified of there being guests doing an interview today.
Dash is going to speak up. So, that is because you didn't need to be. This is on a very personal level that has been approved at the highest echelons of the Order. You need to keep your nose out of it.
That is a very interesting and very bold lie. Why don't you go and give me a roll about that, Dash?
I would love to. Shall we go for deceive? This be high society? Or...
This would be religion.
Yeah. I've got a dice in that. Let's try the...
I will say that this has a 1 difficulty.
Okay.
This is unfortunately, while it is a cover, it is a difficult lie to tell to a member of staff. But let's see how we do.
Any devil's bargains to chuck in there as a
Not from me, but they do open it to the table.
Mhm.
Maybe you can't shake her, but she'll join you on the tour.
Ooh.
I like that. Yes,
actually
you
sounds
gain an
amazing.
additional die, but she will
Okay.
follow you as you try to move through the building.
Excellent. I shall take that. I'll roll my 2 dice.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Well, a 9, you do it. Absolutely. The bunker house and alert clock does not increase.
Yes.
Well, I do understand that in the grand scheme of things, there is knowledge. The rose does not need to know where the fertilizer comes from. I understand the circumstances, Sister Lockley. Thank you. Well, at the very least, please allow me to accompany you and Mr. Bayer through the building, since I will get to the bottom of who arranged your visit today, and but in the meantime, I will accompany you to make sure that you can see all that the building has to offer.
Well, thank you very much, and I agree that we should certainly be moving about a little bit more as a traditional interview. I've been assured that this sort of mechanism, and Adelaide is very much making a physical statement of being that old school. I do this by the book. I'm very much a gumshoe. Hand writes everything. I was assured by the boys down in the communications department that this thing wouldn't cause such a disturbance, so I apologize about that. I was packing up as you were making your way over, because boy, that was a loud noise now, wasn't it? So I apologize. Seriously.
I must say, it is a bit of an unsightly thing. Maybe you could leave it by the reception and pick it up upon your leaving?
Oh, I don't think they would appreciate me just leaving the thing lying around, but I will keep it packed away from now on. I assure you.
Right.
While this is going on, Bosk would like to walk up in his orderly uniform to the bunker house employee.
Yes, please.
And ask them, yes, is everything all right here?
Oh,
like reporting to them as to what do you want me to do kind of situation.
I do actually have a token that I haven't used for anything, so I'm gonna go and actually give her a token since she is now drawn into the story, which I love.
Well, welcome to the stage.
That's great. This is what we love about this, where we make up characters as we go on. Sister Bertha Dust has now entered the battle.
The self-described Rose.
Well, it seems that she subscribes to the same metaphor that the administrator does. Sorry. You said what I need?
Yes. Is there something I can assist with today?
Well,
and he'll just kind of gesture to the people that she's been talking to.
I do believe that there's a glance up and down at your physique. Your role within the garden may not be required for these two, but should any of our recovering members of the community maybe get a little bit rowdy among our guests, please do help quiet them down. Why don't you?
As you wish, sister.
Right. Well, follow me to the workshop area. I have to show you all the painting work our residents have been doing, and they are gently led away from the building, from this room into the hallway. The camera follows, but moves past to them and moves through the building, turning down corridors, up and down stairs to a room that is the administrator's personal office.
Fancy.
Oh, I put it to the map player. That's not what I wanted. Please. Foundry VTT wouldn't treat me this bad. There you go. The administrator has Reed in tow after their ideological jousting in the common area, and after Reed, suggesting that they may be interested in straying away from the path for other matters. I think from it's kind of obvious for all to see. This is damage control being covered here.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm being sent on like chores. That's
Well,
what it feels like.
before that is landed directly upon you. Are you feeling quite well, Crotature? You went quite pale when you were having the conversation with me. He waits a beat. Your hands, I could tell, they were white-knuckled.
Nothing but the pale light of clarity and illumination from your words, I assure you.
Well, by your demeanor, it kind of spoke to me as you not fully understanding the vision that the Church of the Weeping Lady exists under. And that's okay. Every so often we have to be reminded of the things we strive for. So, if you will you spend this afternoon rediscovering what makes our cause so vital?
I think Reed has heard this kind of propositioning a lot of times, and it, like, in the Weeping Lady circles, it means you are going to do this.
Despite the rising at the end of the sentence, it was not a question.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like this is soul, what's the word, introspection time.
See, I was going to go with he just got voluntold.
And I think, especially since you know each other well enough, and he can do that, he would normally be able to do this fine without asking. He lays a hand on your chest and feels your heart rate. Your heart rate is accelerated.
What can I say? I'm just so excited to be here.
Well, such heightened temperament is for those recovering, not for those who should tend their garden.
I think there's like a small orange flash out of one of the eye holes. Sort of like, would I this is a veiled threat, right? It sounded a little threatening.
I mean, yes and no. He is genuinely concerned about your well-being. You have known each other enough and you have been here enough that, separate to your role within the church, he does care about you. So the fact that there is the idea that you are ideologically straying from the path is of a concern to him more than just dogma.
I turned to him one last time before, I think, doing the going on pity duty. They're like, Administrator, I would like to have another conversation with you, but next time I would like both masks to be off between the two of us.
Yes, well, when we are in a place of work and in a place of worship, it does well to behave within the expectations of such an environment. Now, if you could please make your way to Medical Wing C.
Yes, sir. And with a twist on the heel, marches off. Do I have opportunity to join up with the others, or no? I think I guess in the flashback before we Reed would have just been on their own.
So you could guess that the others are in the building, but unless you find a way to send out we've established in kind of previous sessions that AU has essentially a pager system for all of you, so sends out an electrovox signal that you all can receive, in a way of being able to be like, hey, return to base or what have you. Unless you find a way to be able to send out a signal to the others, you do not know where they currently are. So you can try wandering around, but if a member of staff sees you wandering around without a purpose, they'll put you to a task or be suspicious. So
Gotcha.
You may have to find an opportunity. But don't worry, there's still exciting things for you to do while on duty.
Yeah, absolutely. My first idea is actually to make sort of like a drop point out of sort of like in hospitals or like these kind of places, they have like laundry bags just I can open where you can just toss some discarded stuff. I want to kind of like set up one to be a note passing station until we figure out the pager thing.
You've mentioned that there is a maybe either a meeting or a message drop point in the building because you know the layout, but you still need to be able to get there unabated. But hey, trust in the process. I'm sure you will find an opportunity to excuse yourself for such a task in the near future. For now, though, it is the new image that I made. So give me a second to summon it from the ether.
While you do that, I'll say, thank goodness you didn't say you were going to make the drop point in a sharp's basket.
Oh, God.
It's fine.
That's very sawtooth of the circumstances, I suppose.
Oh no.
Does that appear for everybody? It's in the way of... Yeah. So one of the medical areas. Let me also make this bring to front so you can still see the meter. There we go. Cool. It's pretty ordinary. It's one of the ones that's kind of connected on to like actual dorms of the space. The clocks are there but hidden behind the it's fine, I'll ignore it. What a shambles this is. This kind of room, it's almost like a dormitory, but also has kind of like medical equipment set up. I think this is maybe a space where if there are people who are particularly infirm but also need a place to kind of stay, so they can be in a place that is that has the medical tools available should they need attention in the middle of the night and things like that. There we go. That works. That's fine.
Oh, yeah.
And there is work to be done. How about you go and make a fixed religion roll for me, please?
I'd love to, and also roll that. Yeah, I've got no issue with that. I've got pips in both.
If you roll real good, you might even gather some information.
So I'm rolling 3d6. No devil's bargains.
No, not from me.
Let's go. Oh, mamma mia.
So I think that is a failure. Take stress.
That is, yeah, straight up. Oh no, the curse of Reed continues.
Okay.
Even you, I can hear how you are like, oh, how did that happen?
A little bit. Goodness. It's all good. Wow, that missing image on the character sheet thing is truly horrendous.
Not great.
This is just a drain on you and your energies. You know, you do the job, but the circumstance of feeling you've done this job a lot. Even during the times where you are tired or have other things to do, or the person that you're supposed to be healing is a violent, drunken asshole who commands a rabble of rowdy people called the Forge. You do your job, and you manage to steal your heart in a way to do it, but your heart is not in it, and you are made to do this. And for the first time, maybe in your life, this feels like indentured servitude.
Yeah, I feel sort of like the relationship to the work, the capital W work that Rita's been doing, always sort of like got its stability from their faith, right? From sort of like the existence of the Weeping Lady as something that can be merciful, and that is like the trying to broach, you know, the class struggle. But with this, it's like I'm rehabilitating these people to keep them stuck in a system where the point isn't rehabilitation, it's rather, like you say, indenturedness.
Now,
and yeah,
do you, upon feeling this, gasp with despair or lash out? Because that will determine the type of stress you take.
I'm lashing out.
Okay. Your current fallout of the ritual of the mask going against the lady hurts you. Roll 1d3 blood stress every time you do. Kicks in. Roll 1d3 blood stress for me, please.
Understood. Let's do.
Okay. We're gonna do that too. We're gonna do the fallout check.
Oh boy.
You do not take any fallout.
Oh boy.
Really?
But you do, I think, just... Do you hurt somebody, or do you just damage the stuff? I'll leave that to you.
I think there's like a shot of me sort of like holding a blood vial upside down, you know, giving someone a transfusion the old way. You just have to hold it upside down for a very long time. And there's a moment where they're just like kind of nodding off. And then it seems that they're sleeping, but you can actually see that they're sort of like violently staring at this random person who just lost control of their life. And they're sort of like, you see maybe cracks forming in the vial, and I think they just crush it in their hand.
And the shards of glass dig into your hand and it hurts.
Yeah. And there's like the blood inside of the vial as well, just going everywhere.
It understandably or unsurprisingly covers the cotton linen sheets or whatever of this particular bed in now ruined blood, which needs to be cleaned. Well, it gives you an excuse to go and take this to laundry.
Absolutely. I excuse myself. I don't even think there's like a help or like an assistant. I really think this is like a solo shift, so I just kind of like take it out myself. Yeah.
As you leave, one of the other kind of like invalids who's staying in this part of the dorm is like,
wasn't I supposed to be sitting to you yet?
I think Reed just wraps the bloody linen around themselves and like very fast sits down next to them and just kind of like holds a hand out. Yes, of course. I'm right here.
Yeah. No, it's fine. You're clearly busy, so do what you need to do and come back later.
No. Tell me. What's on your mind?
I just aside from the medication I'm supposed to be taking around this hour, I have a
in Sotto.
I have a letter to send.
A letter. I can send it for you. Who's it for?
The address is on the envelope. I can't put it in the mail. They'll read the mail that we sent. So if you could, you're not always here. You leave so you can.
I'm going to have to read the mail and then decide if I can take it out. But I want to do this for you. So you need to look me in the eye and tell me that what you want to send out isn't going to hurt you or the people you care about.
I think we'll resolve how he answers, but I think the way I want to do it more is I will leave this choice to you, Ruben. If you open the letter, you will gain information that will tick up on the gather information roll. However, it will deeply upset him, and he will probably, I will also, yes, there we go. It will, if you open the letter, it will tick up the bunker house on alert and gather information by 1 segment.
Can I metagame this? Can I throw this to the table?
Yeah, you can ask everybody.
How do we feel about that? We're 0 for alert, and it would give us a full clock.
Because we're at one more slice on the gather information clock, I feel like this might actually be worth it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's worth the risk. And plus, there's a level now where I kind of want the bunker on alert and then set it on fire.
I would question: is there not a way to read it away from him? Like, can you just take it now and read it later?
Can I lie? Oh, that's even better.
I am going to, because this opportunity, there was a way that this opportunity could have presented itself differently, but I do love the moral dilemma of this specific instance, so I am going to say no. You either open it now or you don't.
Then yes, I support the rest of the table. Open some bitch
Fair
up.
enough.
Okay. Yeah, no, I absolutely. And I take it with the full intention to read it later on, even if it's out of eyesight. They're still going to. Maybe there's like something, like a sound, or like just what is it? Like an epiphany.
Yeah, I mean because obviously if you take it away and read it later, that removes the moral choice of the circumstance. This is you saying that you're reading it now, so in the kind of like what is it in this letter, and the man says, I know that members of my family are excellent musicians, and well, I worry in these times with some of the people I've seen here that they may have to be playing music elsewhere. But the fact that you're asking me this at all makes me already feel like it's too late.
There's like a small voice inside of Reed that wants to say, we're doing this for your safety. And I think there's like a distance between what they've learned and how that voice now sounds, that they recognize, oh, this is Bergamot, this is the administrator, this is the church talking.
Mm-hmm.
And that voice really wants to say, yeah, no, it's for your own good. But instead, Reed says, it might be. So let me help you. It might be too late for you and your family, but not for others.
You open the letter. What do you want to learn about this letter? You've filled in the gather information. Whatever you gain from this will genuinely be very useful for the mystery at hand, and I will do my best to essentially make it make sense for what you want to learn about the wider circumstances of things.
Can I infer how to get to the basement from here?
Ooh, through this letter? Probably. Sure, okay. Give me a juicier question than that. You can find that by just wandering around. There's no map, as it were, for here, so you can get to the basement with not that much effort. I'm talking broader mysteries, my dear.
Fair enough. So practically minded. No, okay. The
Also, be quick because apparently the spirit warners are coming.
I can't ask that question. The collusion between the Bluecoats and the Weeping Lady. Is there anything about that?
Sure. Noting this down. His daughter worked hard to enter into the youth of Duskfall investigation training program, and she has done incredibly well, and is likely to be a young cadet with the Bluecoats with the intent to make a genuine difference. Is highlighted in this letter. In addition to which, she is also a very good violinist. She knew the letter details like a folk song or like a lullaby that their family knew, and has passed down for a long period of time. And it's mentioned, although not in specific, that the violin piece she played for this invalid on his recent birthday was genuinely beautiful. It opened his eyes up to the abilities that she could truly have as a musician, more than somebody who could help the community in a different way. He initially thought of her entering the academy as a positive thing, and now that he spent an extended amount of time in the bunker house, he is, as directly as he possibly can in doublespeak, strongly requests she no longer do that. After all, ultimately, her working with the Bluecoats will just send her back to the same place she escaped from the Sunday service.
What's the daughter's name?
Sure. This is a Gwen. Gwen Tomlinson.
Gwen Tomlinson. Yeah, I want to definitely, even if it's an open letter, pass it on to her when I find her.
Mm-hmm. One of the orderlies in this room watches you take this letter, read it, and put it into your robe. To give you something a bit more concrete, considering I'm improving this about the relationship between the Bluecoats and the Weeping Lady, and in a facet that you don't know already, because you probably know a decent amount about this. There is a mention of an intent to send a large number of Bluecoats and members of the Weeping Lady out to sea for what is essentially a mission to, as has been said, to spread the good word. He fears that if Gwen becomes a cadet, she will be enlisted in this, for they do not necessarily need talent, they just need manpower.
Right. Okay. I take the letter. I leave the room. How is the man I left?
He is, I think, relieved that the letter can be sent.
Yeah.
But also, I think, just watching you read this letter fills him with a sense of despair, like nothing in his life could ever truly be private. Not again.
Yeah. And I leave him with that feeling because that's how Reed feels.
Okay. So, the camera moves on. Well, first of all, the gather information clock resets. You may now use some of those methods previously established to investigate once again. We are going to go, and we're probably not going to return to this room, so I feel comfortable deleting it. Bold words to be proven.
Actually, forgot my hat. Go back in.
Yeah. Die. We are in the hallway. As Sister Earthidust guides you through the space. Where are you all headed? I think she did suggest the workshop, but under the conversations that happened off screen, as it were, it can be to somewhere else.
So I think we need to find our way to a basement exit. Sorry, to entrance even. So I'm wondering if we can potentially deceive her into going a different way. We've looked at plans of this place, haven't we? So I'm just trying to think where it's going to be likely relatively quiet in an establishment like this.
Well,
Well,
no, go ahead.
No, I was just going to offer. It may become a situation where Dash needs to find a convenient moment to excuse herself and leave me to distract, or leave Adelaide to distract the sister. That may be a good, like, not to say, hey, let's split up and search for clues, gang, but that may be the most convenient thing to do.
Yeah.
I can do a bit of scouting.
There is a third option. If it'll be allowed that Bask is tailing from a little bit of a distance.
You can follow.
Yeah. Yes. The sister could end up unconscious in a broom closet somewhere.
This was something that was crossing my mind when I was thinking of quiet areas, I must admit.
Well,
okay.
it just so happens, because I'm playing ball here, and I knew that this would be a circumstance that's quite likely to occur.
What, Bask causing violence? Who would have thought?
No, well, I've got to let you use your ability somehow in this. The workshop, stained with paint. It is, and with many carving tools and blocks of wood, it seems that they have been working on tapestries to be hung up in various Church of Weeping Lady establishments, both the main building and the various kind of pharmacies or community centers and stuff across Duskfall that are owned by the church. They're so intricate. You've seen them before, just in day-to-day living, and one wonders how long it would take or how many people it would take to make one of these. And in this room, you can tell. There doesn't seem to be anybody working in here right now.
Well, so I suppose you should tell me a little bit more about this art. I mean, obviously we can see the wonderful benefits of what's the term I want to look for here? Not recreational, but occupational therapy that painting would give you. But I noticed that you've got a few tapestries here. I feel like I've seen their lack another place supported by the lady.
Oh yes, we do make sure that the skills that we build among the charges of the bunker house are indeed practical. After all, as we continue to spread the good word across Doskville and onto other shores, we want to make sure that everybody feels invited and welcomed to our homes. And what better way to do that than with sweeping pieces of art? And we have been recently training the members of the Bughouse to also be involved in such art practices.
So, do you have any particular themes or motifs that you want to go for?
Well, and she launches into a bit of a lecture / explanation of, and it's funnily enough very much not nautical. It is horticultural in nature, also kind of like historical depictions of members of the Weeping Lady healing the sick, such as the Weeping Lady herself, in fact.
There's probably going to be a point of Dash examining the artwork and probably interrupting the speech and sighing and saying, The artist, I can't pronounce this.
You're good. Take it from the top.
The art is it's very fine art. However, it lacks soul. You can feel the apathy and uncaring labour in every thread.
Well, let's see here. It feels like you're trying to inflict stress on this woman.
Oh, yes, it does, doesn't it?
How would you like to do that with your combination of skills and domain?
Well, that's a good question. I haven't got my outfit for social attacks on at the moment. I suppose it's technically a compel, isn't it?
Through intimidation is also a factor of compel.
Yeah.
Compel religion makes sense here.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a level of, like, a sudden level of surreal hitting this lady, as it's, like, a low-level nun who's already spoken off to her once is suddenly coming out with something that's a little bit heretical, shall we say? It's there to shock and distract, to be perfectly honest. Compel and religion again,
please.
Yeah, let's go for a standard roll on
no
that.
difficulty on this. You're not lying to her. You're just trying to piss her off.
Do that.
Okay, mixed success. You ruffle her feathers for sure, and she tries to think quite hard about how to best diplomatically answer that statement. Well, Sister Lockley, I'm glad to have another member of the Weeping Lady be such a keen eye for the fine arts. I do appreciate that the painters here are new to the history and great works that the Weeping Lady has performed, and so they are still developmental in their nature. They have not yet acquired the religious insight that both of us have accrued. And she looks at you. Alert increases by 1.
Okay.
And hey, it's a partial.
You called her art shit. Call the cops.
So,
I was gonna say, I'm not trying to dissuade from increasing the alertness, but I do think Adelaide would have a comment along the lines of, "Oh yes, of course, that makes all the sense in the world. It takes time to learn to appreciate these sorts of things."
and I think for the partial success, nodding to Adelaide's comment, Dash will smile, showing her very pointy teeth, and say, "Yes, it's sometimes so obvious to not be able to see what's directly in front of you."
While
what's behind you could be a lot more terrifying.
yes, while this conversation has happened, Bertha Dust is staring and arguing directly with Sister Lockley, not paying attention to the orderly in the room, because why would you ever need to pay attention to the orderly in the room unless they're doing something?
This one's doing something now.
Oh.
Yeah, I think Bask will probably just try and make them pass out, just like hand over nose and mouth.
Mm-hmm. Give me a fight religion,
Oh my
please.
god.
Fight religion? Okay. That's interesting.
I mean,
I'm gonna help them see God, sure.
Very good. It's regular.
Whoa.
She's just an ordinary person.
Alright, so total dice, is it 2 because I have 2 in fight?
It's 1 by default. You get 1 for fight. You're not fighting a group, so I don't think you get the.
So still 2.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet.
You break-
Oh, come on!
All right.
oh my god.
Interesting. Okay. Right.
You break your neck.
Does Dash's extra helping for Bask and the partial success give him some sort of a bonus?
I think it opens the opportunity to do so
Okay.
more
That's
than.
fair. So it's always worth a try.
Yeah. You would probably have to specify, I think, for like a help situation. Okay. I suppose you're probably going to be rolling. Well, okay. First of all, the important thing, before I even kind of decide what she does. Oh.
Oh no. Oh no.
Also,
I don't know, that seems legit to me.
Yeah.
Cool. Sorry, there was also somebody who wanted to post silly things in chat. Goodbye. So, alert has increased as she, I think,
She's noisy as I try this.
No, she steps up to, I think on partial it would have been that.
Okay.
The passionate conversation she has with both Sister Lockley and Lance Spire makes her step forward as she's trying to impassionately defend her position. And your grab misses by a hair, or rather catches her hair.
No.
And upon it being like yanked, she screams.
Okay.
What are you doing?
I'm just gonna try and knock her out again.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The scream is loud enough to generally get some attention of people who are outside the room potentially, but this is the opportunity to try and kind of get things back under wraps. Give me another combination that is not fight religion.
Okay.
And this is open to the
Really?
table, by the way. We have many options of making this happen now. I know that Adelaide can also throw hands if he wants to.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got an idea. I was tempted to save this, but given the moment and it's suddenly...
Yeah, just to avoid a situation of just doing the same roll twice in a row.
Okay. So I think Daphne's going to take this opportunity to use her Paint with Blood special ability.
Please read it for the table.
Paint with Blood. To you, even death is an art form. Any weapon you wield gains the Conduit tag. When wielding a melee weapon, you may use Compel plus Occult to attack. Conduit. Mark D3 stress the mind to roll with mastery when using this equipment for the rest of the situation. I think what Dash is probably going to do is, I'm assuming these are like big... some of these will be like big rolls of... When presumably they're stored, they'll be rolled up like a giant tube of wallpaper, a poster or something. But I think Dash is going to lay a hand, see probably a long length of wood, and she's going to grasp it. As she's sort of struggling, you'll see a hand flicker across the surface of it, and runes appear, which suddenly ignite in a blaze, and she will swing it round and bring it down on her head.
Okay, go and give me a. Did you say compel occult?
Compel occult.
All right. The circumstances are much more dangerous than this fucking jam right now. Hold on. Do I have something that's It's fine. Go for it. Make the roll. Do the thing.
Okay, so mastery's just an extra dice, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Is it this? Will this do?
And I will take D3 mind stress.
Okay.
I will take 2 points of mind stress, which won't be reduced.
So partial success, you do it. And let's go roll the damage you deal her, I guess. Just go and give me like a 1d6. Yeah, you drop her. How messy is this? Considering the like meter rule that you picked up ignited.
So I think it's going to dash will swing it with some power, and it will stop and just very lightly touch her. But then there'll be a flash of magical energy, and it just sort of whites her eyes for a second, and she just sags, like she's been hit with a shock pole or something. The piece of 2x4 like falls to the ground, like sigils burned into it.
And in fact, it burns you. It's hot. Please go and also take 1d3 blood stress.
Okay.
And go and hit that funny little fallout button for me, please, after you've added those in.
Do I want to add one roll, then add again, or should I just do it as a...
So, because they're on separate tracks, just add them to the relevant tracks for the...
Okay. So...
Because it's mind stress to do the spell, and then blood stress to do the thing. Cool. And let's go and get that fallout roll. Ooh, it matches.
Yeah, I thought it might.
You, considering you're at... oh, yes. With that, you were at 10 fallout, and I rolled an 8. So... Clear... This is minor. Clear that blood fallout.
Okay.
Cauterize the wound.
What are you taking as fallout from this?
I think the wimple is all burned and obvious.
No, not wardrobe damage. We're not playing that sort of game.
No. This is oh gosh. Oh, because right. I'm gonna write it down on my end, and then you can kind of type it in rather than me trying to.
Yep.
But this is kind of like the demon will not be contained is the name of this fallout.
Okay.
Walpurgisnacht is just generally upset by the circumstances at hand. This is all beneath him, and he thinks that this building should burn. So the idea of just rolls to kind of keep yourself emotionally in check are now increased in difficulty.
Okay. Oh, you had it there, right. Somehow I've got 2 fallout tables. And it's a mind fallout. So...
Yeah, it's a mind fallout.
Oh, God, it's a great
on the flip side of it, intentionally causing a scene or causing damage at hand is done with an additional D10.
Okay. Escalation with advantage. Gotcha.
Marvelous. Sister Burfadust is out cold.
Dash drops the look of a bit of catharsis. Dash is going to go around and do this to most of the people in this establishment. They will today, it will be marked in their calendars in fucking blood, she'll hiss.
Wonderful. Remind me, the player, are there tapestries in this room?
Oh, yeah.
She's gonna get wrapped up in the tapestry.
Oh, classic mobster move. Love that.
Love it.
And
Why
either either shoved into a closet or maybe a cabinet that'll fit her.
Absolutely. There is a cabinet that fits her. Funny that.
Awesome.
It's done swiftly and cleanly. This is the kind of cleaner work that you are familiar with and can do quite quickly. With no one else in the room, I will ask if anybody wants to inspect this room for anything. That's not mandatory, you do not have to. If not, you may, probably now is a good time, you're no longer being followed, to make your way to the laundry room, which has been established previously as a drop point by Reed. But you do have time to investigate this room if you would like.
I might, because I might do a call back to here later, potentially.
Okay. So that would be you making an investigate roll about here. Sure, that's fine. This would be...
I was going to say, I'll let someone else do the role. It's more Dash will be doing stuff in this room that might come up later.
Sure. Gotcha. Adelaide, blacksmith.
I think I'm going to see if there are any particularly interesting tools in the area.
In that case, go and give me an investigate low society, please, since this is a working man's room.
Okay. So base die plus a pip in investigate plus a pip in low society for 3 dice.
That's pretty good. Don't fuck it up. No.
That's where my good rolls went.
We keep winning. Okay.
And once again, because we've established that crits are 3 slots on the gather information track, Adelaide never punished. Yeah, what did you find here? Anything that you want that feels sensible, do you find what you're looking for?
So you mentioned earlier that there were like carpentry and carving supplies here. There is a particular tool that I'm losing the name of off the top of my head. It's not a pick, but it's used to a planer, like a hand planer, that you would usually use with a hammer, as kind of a hammer and chisel sort of situation to smooth the surface of something out. And I think in particular he would choose a type that's normally used to make those kind of inward sort of circular shapes in handrails and things like that. He's looking to, if he has to use this as a weapon, create a wound that is difficult to heal.
Yeah, you go and get a hand planer that does 1d6 brutal.
Ooh, okay.
And you, going through the process of it, just kind of generally have a look at the wide variety of things that they're carving, and it seems to be instruments a lot of the time. I don't think Adelaide saw the service at the church that we did a while ago, but you have seen these just generally around. These go all over the city. And with that, you, having found everything immediately that you need, you make your way out of the room to the meeting point with Reed. But we'll go take a 5-minute break there. Unfortunately for the people live, because I'm currently in safe mode, the script that makes the counter work is unavailable. We're just going to count 5 minutes and see you all in 5. Thank you for everybody's patience. See you in a bit.
It's 1, 2, 3,
298, 299,
300.
I'm glad people were keeping count. Much appreciated, everybody. In the lack of an actual on-screen timer, I'm so glad that y'all could keep the time on my behalf.
Of course.
All right. Returning to this wild situation that we find ourselves in. Sister Fadast is not here. Goodbye. Having been struck by a very elegant criminal. Let's resume a vibe, shall we?
Mhm.
It'll come in. There we go. We resume our story within the corridors of the bunker house. While this particular location was relatively abstract to most of Smile the Widest, Reed Quadrature knew it as the outside of the laundry room of the bunker house. And so as the three of you hide within the laundry room and hear footsteps coming closer and closer and then stopping directly outside, Reed, swathed in the blanket of blood, partially of the transfusion bottle, partially from your own torn up hand, is the door to the laundry room.
I walk in.
Mm-hmm. The other three brace themselves upon somebody making their way into the laundry room and then ease once you realize who it is.
Welcome.
How are
Good to
you
see you, Reed.
finding? Hello. How are you finding the bunker house?
Oh, it's a lovely visit. Glad we're here.
Upsetting, states Dash.
We've met so many interesting people.
And the day is not even over. Excuse me. And I put the bloody linen away and don't really see the blood on the rest of Reed's robe.
Mhm.
But there's a little wash basin and they sort of clean the wound in the glass. And I found among the misery a clue. They're sending the Weeping Lady and the Bluecoats are sending people out to sea. Which makes me wonder what joint rehearsal they're doing.
Well, they're definitely coming after people who perform sea-based magic. That much is for certain. Bert had no unclear words to say about that much. We've
So,
even been implicated.
there's a lower floor to this place where they're torturing people.
We heard as much the same.
Out of character, would Reed know that?
You know that there is a basement. You know that that part of the basement, as far as you are aware, has always been marked as holding and recovery. The lie that they tell, I suppose, is something to the effect of members of the bunker house who are especially dangerous and violent on the floor is sent down there so they can essentially be looked after without having to harm anybody else. Most operation of the building happens without needing to access there at all. If you were at surface level of this building, you would really ever need to go to holding and recovery unless you were needed to be put in timeout, as it were.
Right. So definitely dealt with sort of the results of the basement.
You have
but
probably
not-
sent someone down there before
Oh.
who was physically dangerous to yourself and others, but you've not been down there yourself.
I like that a lot, actually. I didn't know what's down there. But do y'all share
Oh,
torture?
probably not into too much detail, but if Reed asks, then Dash will happily recount what Bert had passed on.
It's sort of like a bald grip forming. I sent people down there thinking it would do them well, the isolation, the treatment. I want to go there. I need to go there.
Well, we're of the same mind then.
Hmm.
I need to see what they did to Bert.
I need y'all to know, and I think making themselves comfortable. I imagine this laundry room is like super small, and with Bosk's sort of like stature as well, it's making it's like the huddle is super close. I consider myself no longer an agent or working for the Weeping Lady.
And that makes you one of the best people here, then.
I want to thank you all for showing that there's more dogmas to choose from. I wouldn't have clocked all this as bad before my stint here.
Well, there's always two sides to everything. I'm glad you found the side you can stomach.
Many sides, it seems. And I want to confide in all of you. There might be an awful thing coming at the end of this. I think we can all feel it. I am on your side when that happens. And then, I guess, takes their hand out of a nearby laundry bag they were using for support, and just like is covered in an array of dirty clothes and has to shake them off awkwardly.
Well, we know where the door is, or you know where the door is and can lead the way. You may have to move quickly. It seems that a yell that was suddenly silenced has people slightly on edge, not that they've been able to find the source of it.
Let's find these bastards and teach them, reteach the city why people you don't fuck with smile.
We move to later. The door to the basement is here. It's locked.
Can I have a flashback to the administrator's office and have attempted to maybe gotten like a master key?
Okay. I think that is a reasonable flashback. That will be 1d3 mind stress.
Aye. I can also roll for it if it's like up in the air.
So you know how in regular Blades of the Dark you would take like 1, 2, or 3 stress depending on how extravagant. I think it would be die size for this. 1d3, 1d6, 1d8, depending on how big of a request. So because it's a small request, that's 2 mind stress for you. You don't need to worry about fallout for it though.
I take 0 because I have such good normal head.
Fair enough.
Sorry.
I guess I don't know how I feel about flashback stress kind of being affected by armor, but we're playing fast and loose. It's fine. You don't take any stress, whatever. Fan of my players, as GM advices are wont to give. No, it's all good. Don't worry about it. Now, this does feel like something you would have to roll to go and obtain. You will obtain it regardless, or at least something equivalent of. We'll just see how well it goes. It won't retroactively fill in the bunker house on alert, although that might be quite funny if it did.
Yeah, we're there, right. We're just there, and there's guns on us. Right at the frame.
Give me an investigate. Order, religion, or technology. Any of those would make sense here.
I will take religion as domain. Can I argue for a sneak instead?
Oh, sure. That's fine.
Thank you.
That makes more sense, to be honest. That's fine.
I can roll my 3d6, or 3d10 rather. Can I... well, I don't need a...
I don't know if you want a devil's bargain on this necessarily.
But then again, the last time I rolled 3d10, it didn't go so well. See? I'm telling y'all, what the fuck? This is. Hey, this is not okay.
This
Have
this
you
campaign
tried
just is.
apologizing to Roll20 for whatever you did to piss it off?
I'm looking at God and I'm saying this is not okay.
You snuck a key. You put it in the lock.
Oh shit, that's
Dude, yeah.
Oh god!
You sneak a key. You're very proud of yourself of actually having managed to snuck this key away from the administrator's desk and take it all the way here. And you try to put it in the lock, and it doesn't fit. It is not the key to this door.
fucking hell.
Nothing ventured, nothing gained. But unfortunately, you'll have to try something else to get this door open.
Can I try and break it open?
Oh, absolutely.
Awesome.
That might be loud, but we'll see how well you roll.
Do we want to do the loud thing first, or do we want to try
You
something
want to
that's
try
a little
to
more?
picking the lock is also an option. That
Yeah.
you can do whatever you feel like. I'm not here to
Do
stop you.
I put it to the table.
Don't put it at the table. If you think you can pick the lock, go for it.
Yeah.
Stop Bass from being, Bask.
Okay.
Boss. I'm forgetting how to say my own guy's name.
Then Adelaide will reach out and touch Bosk on the meaty upper arm and go, well, hang on there. Let's see if we can't do this the polite way first.
I will take that previous key obtaining could have just been steal, but it's fine. We play faster than lose. I will take a fix or a sneak technology here.
Ooh, Could I negotiate that into a fixed crime?
Oh yeah, I see it. Go for it.
Okay. Then I am going to use my force of personality in this possibly the silliest way to gain a pip in fix.
Okay.
For this duration of this scene. And we'll go that, which gives me a total of 3 to this.
Sounds good. Okay.
So this is a mixed success, yes?
So you pick the lock.
So, may I suggest that the only tool at hand to do so was that planer that I picked up earlier.
And now it's broken. You don't have access to it anymore. Okay. Yeah. No, I think that's fair. I would also love for you to go and roll me 1d3 mind stress, please.
1d3 mind? Very well.
The pressure of this is not unknown to you. If they have the ability to do such horrendous things to people down here, they could do it to you if they caught you.
They sure could.
Please go and take that 2 mind stress.
I have done so.
Let's roll for that for you. I'll take mine, especially since on your end, disclosure, because it's sent to the GM directly. You rolled a 3 there. I rolled an 8, so you're lucky.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to argue.
No, it's all good. You don't. But the stress is not unknown to you, and in fact, the last turn, like the last pin, isn't pushing correctly, and you force it, and it does it. But it cracks the hand planer. It's useless now. Also, the door is obviously damaged, but it swings open.
I feel like I could have just done that, but okay.
Yes, but with less noise this way. Somebody actually has to clap eyes on the thing.
So, as established, there is no map, but what's down here are medical facilities and holding cells. What would you like to look at first?
I'm for the medical facilities.
Shall we team up and split up?
Yeah, I would like to go to the holding cells myself.
I think, yeah. I think Dash will join for the holding cells this time.
Okay.
Cool. I was going to suggest the medical.
Right. We'll split that in half. Fabulous. In that case, we make our way down the stairs into the basement of the bunker house. Let's have a look at the holding cells first. It's dark in here. It's clean enough. There is in each of these rooms, it seems like to keep the space efficient, it's both an interrogation space and a cell. You look at a couple that are empty. There is a bed, but also a bolted down table and chairs in the middle of the room, so a conversation can be had. It's the third one that you look through, the grate, and then you see a familiar face. Hello? Oh wait. Oh, I think I know you. He gets up from the bed, having kind of just been sitting there staring at nothing for however long he's been down here without direct interaction, and gets right up to the bars of the door to this holding cell and hissing, "You two chased me. Why are you here? Why am I here?"
I think reflectively, Dash is going to put a hand on Bask's shoulder, knowing how Bask has reacted twice on the occasion of meeting Ben, and suddenly finding him here somewhat suddenly is going to probably have a bad reaction.
You had prepared for this, Bask. You knew that part of the process of this, especially with the meeting with Layla Mays and the Star, that Ben Whitworth was being held here at the bunker house. So you maybe have emotionally prepared yourself for it. But, well, meeting this very milquetoast man face to face again, how do you feel?
I think Dash can feel just my arm tensing under their hand.
I don't know why you're looking at me like that. I can't do anything to you. Even though you've gone pale. Everybody's treating me like some kind of monster. I don't understand why.
Stop lying. What are you?
Give me a compel for occult.
Okay.
Since compel is an intimidation thing, but I think the only domain this thing could be is occult.
Sure. So I've got one pip in compel, so 2 die because I got 0 in occult.
Fair enough.
Bam. Yeah,
That feels fitting.
That's the kind of night we're having today.
Welcome to my domain.
I don't think I want to give you stress here. I'll hold on to that thought. However, your intent to intimidate him does not work, insofar as he just looks frustrated.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not lying. I generally don't know why people. I was just doing my job. I was just working at the ligature with the new job. I was so overjoyed to get a new job. The hive helped me and find somewhere to work, and it was good work, and I was helping people, and now everybody wants me interred or dead, or I don't know what you want from me.
Dash wants to understand. we'll say, stepping forward slightly, looking at Ben, right? Because last time that we saw him in the factory, she just didn't get. There wasn't anything to give away his obviously ridiculous magical nothingness presence. Then he ran, and it became more obvious. Now she sort of has an idea of that. Is that something she can sense a little bit?
Oh, absolutely. I would love for you to investigate a cult. He might even add to the little gather information tracker if you do.
Yeah, let's go for that. I've got it gives me 2 dice, so I can join the Rolling Terrible Brigade. Let's go. I know the shit. This is easy.
See, that's what's happened. It's just all the dice have shifted to other players.
They're mine now. You're not having them back.
All right. Yeah, you open your third eye, as it were. Your dark scleras flash in the incredibly dim light down here as you look, or just try to understand the entity that is Ben Whitworth. You almost feel as if Warpargisnacht looking through your own eyes, the entity within your existence also staring. Ask me a question.
Why did you appear to Dash at the stage, and why does Dash think you're so familiar yet? Dash has never met you.
He says, the first time I met you was when you went to my place of work. I've not met you before then. But it seems that a lot of people have been asking me if I've been to these places that I've never been, met people I've never met before. So, maybe I have and I don't remember. I don't think that's the case, says the voice within your head. Oh, what I think the circumstances here is that he is barely a person at all. Just a simile of one. The understanding of what a human form should look like. And well, didn't the star say to you not the other day that 7, 8 sightings of him of roughly around the same time were reported? It's not just Ben Whitworth. There are many.
How do we yet see the core of it?
Yes, the only question now is, well, who is making him? The gather information clock fills, and in a similar fashion to before, feel free to ask essentially a world question related to the circumstances here, and I will do my best to answer it within the context of what is available before you.
I would like to know where he was. He doesn't have memory, or this entity, or this fragment doesn't have memory of the encounter with Dash, but does he have memory of where he was immediately before that, in the a location?
You ask him his movements on that day, which in real time was no more than maybe 3-4 days ago. And he does his best to recount. He tells you that he was delighted a few days ago to receive a letter from the Hive to his lodgings and renting a room in a boarding house, I guess is probably the best way to put it, from the Hive. His application to the Hive's worker placement scheme was successful, and he has been placed to work at the ligature alongside a number of other colleagues, but he would be the first. And he went there every day. He was good at his job, although he doesn't remember going to school for electronic work. He is reasonable at making tea, just like his dad always made it, but he can't really remember his dad's face. He joins in after work when they all go to the pub together and sing rude old chanties that the sailors sang. But he doesn't remember ever going on a boat himself. In fact, well, as you continue to ask him to go further and further back in his memory, what happened the day before he got the letter from the Hive about his new job, he doesn't remember anything.
Dash will glance to Bask. Dash is going to try something a little risky. I might need you to potentially pull Dash away if it goes too far.
Okay. Just say the word.
Dash will nod to Bask, and her eyes flicker back to Ben. I'm going to attempt an interesting interpretation of my centre of attention ability, which is a role to get everyone in the situation to focus on you and you alone. I want the entity to see Dash, not this little puppet Ben Whitworth. Whatever's puppeteering it and giving it autopilot, I want it to notice and try and get some sort of information that way, which feels very dangerous.
Okay. Do you need to make a roll to do that?
Not to actually activate it, but I'll roll with mastery to attempt to get it to pay attention, so it feels like a check's probably relevant.
Okay.
Or whether it's that or...
Perfectly fine. Just double checking that I understand how we're going to go and run this. Give me a second to think of vibe. Apologies for the tension. But, well...
No, my jaw tightening is fine. It's okay.
It's fine. We'll just sit over here and shiver with anticipation.
This'll do. Yes. Absolutely. All eyes are on Dashia Locklear. You read books on how to do this before you were introduced to Walpurgisnacht. But some things, when you are in accordance with the demon, become easier. After all, demons are essentially a composite, crystalline, gathered form of an idea, an emotion, and a metaphysical concept given a incorporeal body. It was maybe fate that a demon of performance sat within you, but the sparkle of the stars has never left your eyes since. And when you want to stand on the stage and have all eyes on you, all you need to do is look within and ask, and the spotlight will be upon you, my dear, as many times as you like and for as long as you need. In districts away, people hanging out their washing to dry, people making their way home from work from factories, people in the middle of cooking dinner or reading bedtime stories to their children suddenly feel compelled to look in your direction, out at an empty spot on the horizon, through a building to something. They don't know why they're staring, but you do. And Ben Whitworth stares at you, your eyes meeting his, past the facade of his glasses, past the sham of his skin, to the nothing that you know is in underneath a inky darkness. And yet something is in there. It barely has a shape or a form. Maybe even an echo? You think of, well, Leviathan's song. You've not heard it yourself directly, you were never one for the coast, but you've heard of the concept. Of how these gigantic, impossibly large sea creatures can call out to each other. Sound moving faster through water than it does through air. Maybe that water could be conceptual. As long as there is a medium to move through, the message can be sent. As many times, and in as many bodies as is needed. You just need to know the words. And the Leviathans have learned the words, slowly, with each one of these. Please, give me a difficult, difficulty 1, resist occult, please.
Okay. Resist occult. So that would be 2 dice base. I'll lose
Reduced
1, then I
to 1,
gain.
yes.
Then I'll gain 1 for the
That was
center of
mastery.
attention. Mastery, yeah. See what we're going to get for this. Oh, my dice. Dash's dice. You may not have them.
I feel so robbed.
You have experienced this already once before. The overwhelming surge of nothing. The ambient noise that fills your day, including the heartbeat and the feeling of fibers against your skin just being removed, and you brace for it this time. You take a deep breath and let yourself be entirely enveloped in nothing and sink for a long time. Externally to you, not that you're aware, Clarence Basque looks upon you, eyes rigid wide, body not moving. You barely even see her breathe, but you know that she's still alive, wrapped. What do you do, Blacksmith?
I guess honestly just nothing right now. He doesn't see any signs of distress, so this is clearly part of the plan.
Well, you just count your lucky stars that you are not in the depths of whatever she has cast herself into. You continue to sink within nothing, Dash. The sense of gravity or which way up you are not really existing, and yet somehow you can feel that you are moving. Eventually, oh gosh, you have no idea how long you've been waiting in this darkness, but eventually you feel shallow water lap around your ankles. A sensation, a blessed sensation after standing so long in nothing.
You are not the usual who come to visit. Are you here for another shell?
No, Dash states. Dash is here to understand.
We all look for understanding. understanding. I have understood much from the others you have sent in exchange for shells. I could understand from you too.
And you don't even know what it is, but there is something close to you now. Distance means nothing, and yet you can feel that it is millimeters away from you. Something large, something impossible.
Am I to conceive it so I can understand?
Dash had a friend who was a Leviathan, she'll say, looking at it. See, Dash still has things to do in Duskfall. Does not wish to be consumed herself.
Well, that is not for you to decide. Now the door has been opened. Now that an accordance has been struck for shells to be made in exchange for understanding. They'll want more. They'll throw you in too.
And you blink. You feel nauseous.
She'll hold a hand up to ask.
I will grab and support any way I can.
Ben blinks.
Oh. What was that? Why do I feel so empty?
Dash is sorry, Ben, but you're far beyond Dash's help.
Oh.
Is the only response you get. Meanwhile, are we all good?
Oh, yes.
That was a
Ooh,
lot.
Tingles, tingles.
I'm gonna take a nap now. I'll be back.
Okay, all right. Oof.
Excellent prose, by the way.
Ooh, yeah.
A medical room. To This is both a room that could assist in kind of medical attention, but it feels more like a chemistry lab, or, well, it would take an expert to understand what all the different devices in here do. Reed recognizes the medical technology available here. Adelaide, maybe at a push, you would recognize the bits and pieces you have seen at like police stations before when they are taking stuff like fingerprints and things like that.
Sure. I may recognize some of like the chemical things as well, just from like dealing with miners and all that sort of stuff. But I certainly would not have any idea what they actually do or how they operate.
But it's interesting that there are things in here, despite very separate spheres that you operate in, that you still recognize some of the items in here and what they're supposed to do. You definitely recognize that kind of like what looks like a blue coat ledger and a fingerprint kit.
Yeah. Can I see if there's can I like start checking drawers and stuff?
Absolutely, that's what we're here to do after all.
And I would definitely like to flick through that ledger if possible.
I think this is going to be an assisted roll. But, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say something along the lines of I would like to do so with like maybe find a piece of cloth or some such that I wouldn't deposit new fingerprints on.
Yes, fair
Or is
enough. You don't need to like roll about that. That just feels like a good common sense decision to do. We're not the kind of OSR game where I would have done a gotcha if you hadn't stated, but that's very sensible to mention. Cool. I think then that I don't mind who makes the roll, but this is definitely an investigate technology with an additional 1d10 because you're being assisted.
I don't have investigate. Do you doff that?
I have investigate. I do not have technology.
I don't have a technology either, so I think you should do it.
Okay, fair enough.
And you get the additional 1d10 for being helped, so you're still rolling a 3d10.
Yeah, okay. Let me double check and see if I've got anything else on my sheet that I might be able to pull into this. Nope. Okay.
Solid. A full success.
Okay.
Okay, there are two notable ledgers here. One that is clearly owned by the Bluecoats, and one that is clearly owned by the Weeping Lady. You do have the time and ability to read them both, it's just they both contain different information. Also, as a full success, the gather information clock fills by 2.
Ooh, delightful. I think that Adelaide would go more for the blue coat one, and maybe even directly hand the Weeping Lady one to Reed, since they are more knowledgeable about the operations of the church.
Absolutely. I think Reed takes it and goes, not often you get to look through, I suppose, the ledgers of the big players, right?
Always revealing when you do, though.
What's the, we never got to talk much. What's the most interesting thing you've ever learned about a blue coat?
Oh. Not to be too grim about it, but probably the most interesting thing was this one guy who was on the take to ignore certain safety limitations whenever they popped up in a particular building. Let's just say we made sure he started paying attention to things like fire codes after a while.
Hardcore.
Let's have a look at the blue coat ledger first, shall we? You, Adelaide, crack it open, and there is a list of names here, or at least profiles on multiple people. A bunch of people that you recognize, up to and including Bert Graham, and names, Matthias Van Roy. Not somebody who you've directly met, but you know as a fan of Dash's. You've kind of seen them ambiently. They were at the Renaissance Roast, in fact. There is a note about the time and day that they were taken in, and the procedure that was done to them. They have not been marked for death, but they will be released once their wounds have healed. It seems that there are names that have been submitted both from the Weeping Lady and through investigations from the Bluecoats of people to interrogate and take to the bunkhouse for further questioning. But a number of them seem to have run cold on account of them already being deceased. Their houses were burned down with them inside.
Speaking of fires, you heard anything about an increase in those sorts of accidents recently?
On the radio this morning, actually.
You continue to flick through a bit more. There is another memo here, and it's not the writing that you recognize in terms of style, but the letterhead. It is the kind of person who writes documents with a letterhead already available, from Abel Islington. Apparently, one of the bigger leads that they were following up was how to put this, a magic forensics report. You've heard him talk about this to you before, that he is in the leading field on this, and some of the finer details of this report are unknown to you. Dash might be able to read it, but who knows if her knowledge of magic is quite so academic in that nature. Either way, apparently a fulfillment warehouse belonging to the Hive has had huge amounts of residual ocean magic, where the faction has not traditionally used magic in any of its affairs. It's something the Bluecoats want to investigate, but without a warrant, trying to get on site is incredibly difficult if they don't want to start essentially a gang war with the largest merchant guild in Doskvol and beyond. And yet, Abel Islington has said that he is on the case.
Of course they're fucking involved. When is the Hive never not involved in something?
I'm not surprised. But, who's wait, and I think Reed looks over Alay's shoulder like, is that a letterhead?
Yeah. Take a guess at which detective it's from.
What kind of yeah, okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Looking at the Weeping Lady journal here, this seems to be medical records rather than a religious text.
Ooh. Is there anything on Ben Whitworth?
There is, in fact. Upon taking him in, there is actually a set of fingerprints. They are, well, it's not like you've seen many fingerprints in your time, Reed. Actually, Adelaide, you look at them, they are what you could describe maybe as generic. Like, too simple.
Like the kind of thing that a child might draw when they think they're drawing fingerprints.
I was thinking the exact same thing, yeah.
They make sense. Like, they are as many, the walls and shapes are where they're supposed to be, but they don't look as complicated as the ones on your own hands as you go to look. It seems that after he was taken in, a blood sample was taken, along with everybody else who has been taken in to check. Apparently under Abel Islington's request to see if there is any residual magic radiation from their blood, which there are, actually, in some of the actual magic practitioners. However, the attempt to withdraw blood from Ben Whitworth mostly pulled air, or rather, just did not draw blood at all. Just a very small amount of seawater.
I remark, that explains why he's such an airhead. What else?
That's largely all the useful information handy. You have a pretty good profile of the various people who have been taken in and arrested and interrogated on suspicion of being unauthorized ocean magic users. If anything, what you may be previously were not aware of, it seems that using ocean magic actually has a change to one's physiology. Your circulatory system, it also being an endless round and worked on over a long period of time, also counts to, and also a flowing of a liquid, also counts as a magical conduit. People who have been practicing ocean magic for longer have essentially more latent ocean magic flowing through them inherent.
Okay.
This may be even a thing you could detect.
Understood. So we'd be able to like identify, or rather, this is how blue coats are snuffing out like their suspects.
You have no idea what kind of technology or magic would be required to just sense an individual out in the street, but at the very least, with this understanding, you could take a blood sample and check it for latent magic use.
Right. They're trying to stop and frisk the entire city, see who's a magic user, who's not.
Well, if that ain't invasion of privacy, I don't know what is.
Why would the church go along with this? I'm trying to understand what teaching could even justify this kind of urge for control, but
Centralization of power. You don't want anybody else getting into the fun stuff. If you know what I mean.
really is that tied to recent leadership, I suppose.
I'm just taking a shot in the dark.
Reed, you have a thought, and it's kind of unprompted. You think about Reverend Bergamot and the day you were given that mask, and you consider just how dangerous ocean magic could be, and how any instance of something that people don't fully understand being resolved to be dangerous could easily cause mistrust among the people about that thing. Do you say anything, having considered that thought?
Okay. Just so like I'm fully on the same wavelength.
Mm-hmm.
This kind of method of control of suggestion is like just institutional to the church. It's just basically the thought here, right?
Well, this is clearly not something they have done within your memory before. The idea of finding people who are using magic in a way they don't like and actively removing them. But then public practitioners of magic have never been as, well, involved in pop culture as they have.
Okay. Yeah. No, I...
Casting spells is popular now.
Kids, all the kids do it. I bring this up with Adelaide, yeah.
And Adelaide, with that brought up, you think about the last time you saw somebody actually cast magic in front of you before meeting Dash, which I'll actually leave open to you. When was the last time you actively saw somebody practice magic?
Like a spell, or just kind of regular day-to-day, like creating charms and ritual stuff?
I think, well, the kind of like cynic in you wonders whether the charms and rituals are superstition or actually have the power to do things. But in the recent months, you have seen a celebrity artist conjure shapes from nothing, create wards and seals, summon demons. You have seen a person of the cloth heal people with simply a touch. You have seen somebody with a criminal history, not entirely distant to yours, but with a surprising twist, have had all of their bones plated with gold and now tinkers with machines to cast spells upon the air like no one has ever seen before.
Okay, so I go with the active idea of spellcasting. I think that Adelaide has seen that sort of a thing in the past. but never in the open and never in anything but the most desperate situations. Like, we're talking things like when something goes wrong and like there's a mine cart that's out of control and someone instinctively reaches out and stops it in some way, shape, or form, either by acting directly on it or by like raising earth or changing the path of the rails. Things like a fire bursting, an explosion, those sorts of things. And snuffing out the air in the room, sacrificing a few people, but saving, the greater whole. Those sorts of instinctive casts. I think that's the only things that he had seen before joining this group.
It's a whole new era, and it seems nobody really knows how to handle it. There doesn't appear to be too much more in this room. I mean, if you sat down and tried to understand all the machines in here, you might be able to gather something new, but do you really have the time? It might be a reasonable time to regroup with the others.
Yeah. One last thing. Is there an entry on read in this ledger? Or on case?
There is a note. Considering there is a list of people of interest, both you and Dasher Locklear are mentioned as people of interest. Notes under Read Quadrature are that they are a member of the Weeping Lady, but are currently doing work for an undesirable criminal element, and keeping an eye on them and how they operate is of importance. There is a potential that they may know more about individuals who are casting illicit spells. Dash, on the other hand, would be taken in for questioning, but being a celebrity, genuinely, being removed from her daily life in an obvious way would be too dangerous to do. So they have not been able to take Locklear in for questioning, but they would if they could.
Interesting. Yeah, I definitely take note of that.
There is a movement back through the basement, and Reed and Adelaide meet back up with Blacksmith and Dash, having, I think, roughly around that time of Dash coming out of her reverie and mentioning that there is nothing that can be done for Ben Whitworth now. So, am I just supposed to stay here then? What happens to me now? I want to go home. It doesn't matter if I don't remember what happened before. I'm a person, aren't I? I can't be jailed up for no reason just because I don't remember.
No, Ben. Unfortunately, you can be. However, we'll make sure that the people who did this to you were thoroughly dealt with.
There is a panicked or pleading look at Bask. I know you hate me, but you leave me here?
Bask will square up to look him dead in, I guess, his eyes, and say, I don't know what you are, and I say this to whatever thing is puppeteering this. I will find you. And I will destroy you before you can take my city.
Ben Whitworth's eyes flash black.
The sea will consume everything. Eventually. I am infinite.
A blink. So, I guess I have to stay here then. And wait. I'll wait. He goes and sits down on the bed and stares at the floor. I hope they let my boss know where I am. I want to return to work. It's nice working there. And unless you say anything else to Ben Whitworth, he currently has nothing else to say. What do you all do?
Walk out of earshot. More out of respect for the memory of Ben Whitworth, or whatever it is. Dash
follow. Yeah.
Dash takes off her headdress and massages her scalp as she's walking. So, there's somebody in the city. I think, based on what we're discussing there, potentially the Hive, who is striking a pact with the hive mind of Leviathans, feeding members of the city to it in order that the Leviathan have to understand them better, and then they're spitting out the remains as an echo. A husk, shall say.
They're sending out people to see. I saw it mentioned in a letter. It's not going to be pretty, is it?
Wait, are you saying those people who are getting sent out are... Oh, God.
I don't think they're meant to come back.
I have two questions. Sorry, go ahead. Apologies.
Just partially from my understanding, there's still two distinct factions here, isn't there? Or is it all the same plot? Because I'm getting the impression that they've caught Ben Whitworth here, and because they weren't sure what he is, and then there's another group that's making things like Ben Whitworth.
Mm-hmm.
So the sending out to sea thing might be something different.
I was under the impression that keeping Whitworth in custody contain existence, of the damage.
Maybe.
That's
Oh. You might not necessarily have all the pieces to the puzzle then.
we need to roll one more success, guys.
Well, that was going to be my question here. You are currently all together and are undetected. If you choose to, you can just leave now and escape. And, well, I'll have a final question about what you want to do with some of the information that you've gathered and how it affects the magic balance of things. But if you would like to go and gather further information, you do have a clock half filled and can maybe find out an additional truth, should you choose to stay. But you'd have to tell me where you're going to go to find that information.
Dash going to look at the group. I think we need to extract this. Oh, no, Dash thinks we need to extract this from someone higher up, either Islington or Bergamot. See what their lying tongues put out.
Islington for how much he sucks is a hound. I think the brains are Bergamot.
I'd agree with that. Also, don't rightly want to go up against Islington again, quite frankly. We got lucky last time.
Des remembers the request or the promise she made to Lila Mays. Abel to Islington must die.
Yeah, was this thing where Dash is very much a team player, but then again I have this mind fallout that is rearing in the back of Dash's mind.
Hey, if there's nothing else you want to do with this building.
I do, that's the problem.
I was going to say, if there's nothing else you want to do with this building, then, well, you can discard it at your leisure.
Well, can we bring him out somewhere? We can abuse the intercom system.
Oh, Dash has an idea. Do you think, she'll smile slightly to Reed. There's a lot of people in this building that deserve punishment. However, there's also a lot of innocence. If we can kick up a little bit of a hornet's nest, could you at least do the best to see that those who don't deserve the retribution are somewhat more safe?
Of course. And there's sort of like a glow from Reed's mouth hole in the face mask, sort of like a smile shining. What a good person you are for a demon.
That's going to be the smile. I think Dash thinks that this establishment has been taking ocean magic users far too lightly. Let's show them what we can do, and what a true practitioner is capable of. Somewhere in a room, we have a cut to a room, OGM, where there's some beautiful tapestries that have already been criticised on, and a magic circle is going to start igniting on several of them.
Okay.
Oh no, the nun. What will we do?
To the workroom, filled with oil paints, fabric paint, wooden tools, and sequestered behind one of the tapestries hanging from the wall as a demonstration of the work available here, has a sigil been etched so quick, done by less practiced hands, it would maybe even be considered sloppy. But here, it did everything it needed to. There is a crackle, a burn, and a voice on the air. This is a very interesting stage, Dashia Locklear. The pyrotechnics are appropriate. As the workroom begins to catch fire. And I think this is going to be where we'll stop for today.
Gasp.
Oh, good, I can unclench my jaw.
Good shit, everybody. Delightful. Oh.
Wool over eyes.
Okay, yeah, no, well done. Did we all have fun today?
Oh, hell yes.
That was emotional. It was tense.
I was, in the process of putting this kind of like, I guess, dungeon or whatever together and thinking of stuff like soundtrack and bits and pieces for it, being kind of like, okay, how can we convey that this place is A, religious, and B, the fucking saddest place you have ever been to? I think we carried. But yeah. Let's do some comments and kudos, everybody.
All right, I want to give my comment and kudos to Captain, because that takedown of Sister, what was her name?
Oh, Sister Burfidust. Yes.
Sister Burfidust was so fucking funny. I imagined that to be like, you know how Hitman, when you play the game, it sometimes can go wrong. I imagined it being like that. Just, you missing the grab and then having to resolve the NPC, before the alarm goes off. I thought that was really, really funny.
Yeah, it was very Yakuza encounter for me kind of thing. But like, this job could be so easy. It's the easiest job. It's not easy.
I'll pass it on. Mine goes to you, Caster. I think you did a great job with this episode. You've been doing it all campaign, but this episode just emotionally draining, you some bitch.
True.
Oh yeah, no, I'm glad you're enjoying the energy in the moment. Every time I'm just kind of like, I hope this is like sad and dramatic in a good way, and not just in a kind of like miserable, genuinely miserable way. Good. I'm glad it's still fun to be part of this kind of shitty crime world we're in.
I think I'll go next. I'll throw mine out to Reed, because it's been very nice to see the crystallization of the character change from last session, or the revelation sort of coming to you, and how Reed sort of coped with that and has turned it into sort of action and getting stuff done, but still maintaining actual being a good person as part of it.
Thank you.
And I think I will go ahead and give it to Dash for being able to kind of weave in things that, oh, well, of course you did that before. That makes all the sense in the world. Sort of like, it's something you've consistently done across the entire campaign. But things like, again, that example of like, oh yeah, of course I left a rune behind those tapestries. Of course, I can just reach out and grab this thing and resolve the situation when needs be. That sort of.
Thank you.
Yeah. No, it's an interesting form of system mastery that is emerging here, in that the abilities are largely quite permissive in terms of what your abilities can do, but there are so few of them. Finding ways to use the few abilities you kind of gain in odd ways like that. The idea of to give props to everybody in turn, your decision to kind of use your all eyes on me, including whatever terrible eldritch echo sits behind Ben Whitworth's eyes. There's nothing in there, but surely there is something in there. Was a really cool and creative choice of your abilities. I love that. Likewise, Adelaide, Sheila, embodying Adelaide as somebody who's kind of like, oh, yeah, this kind of like espionage and infiltration is within my wheelhouse. I could embody a character that can do the thing that needs to be done. And if it comes to the point where we have to use much more traditionally criminal tactics to get to where we need to go, I can do that as well. Ain't no thing. I'm going to make sure my friends are okay is great. I really, really liked the performance of that. I apologize, Bask, that the dice were like, nuh-uh. No suit.
I mean, it's fine. Like, I've had such a high run, it had to bounce back eventually.
But
like Bask has got away with a lot of shit this campaign.
But I also like that has kind of tempered your approach. You are still a man filled with rage, but it is more, I guess, this circumstance, this environment has channeled it in a direction different to just like, I'm hurting, so I'm angry. You're in a place where everyone's hurting, and you're like, well, fuck, I guess even this person who I'm angry and scared about also is hurting. This circumstance is miserable. And watching you kind of come around to that understanding, and the fact that it's the person through Ben and not really Ben itself that is the problem, is great. I really like that moment. Really good job. And Ruben, I props to kind of having a conversation with me, external to the circumstance at hand, and finding ways to kind of like square the circle, both in terms of what Reed can do as a member of the crime team, but also where Reed's head is at in relationship to this faction, and how that could resolve within the scenario, and really proactive about kind of sorting that. And that's been really good. I think that's really kind of hopefully has felt like it's echoed in the stuff that's happened in this session as well. That's being heard and acted upon.
Yeah, because I realized, has it come to light why Reed is with the group at all? And I was like, no.
You've been employed is the only really way that it's kind of been discussed. It's not been delved
Career
into
move.
more than that.
Manager position.
And it's interesting to see as I guess Reed continues to understand themselves, whether that self-understanding will be reflected in other people who may or may not have similar circumstances to yourself. And I won't go any further into that because that shit's spoilers. Ooh. Yeah, good shit. Right, let me get the credits tab rolling. So that's scrolling through the screen. Any other things to mention? Knowing that we are on our way out, we're approaching the end of the Chant of the Void Sea story. How are we feeling? Any called shots for the imminent future?
I don't have any called shots, but I will say, as someone who's been playing Best this long now, I find it very fascinating where he's at, because like this is not the place he should be. This is not his kind of adventure. He's a punchy man. He's so far out of his depths.
Don't worry. I have a feeling if you decide that you want to go rock up to the Hive warehouse, you may have the opportunity to throw a big punch.
But like I said, I'm not complaining. I'm just saying it's fascinating to play that of someone like I threatened whatever the hell I threatened now.
You threatened God.
Bask fully believes in that threat. I have no idea if he's capable of fulfilling that threat.
I believe Bask can do it. If every JRPG out there can let a group of ragtag people go out and attack and consume God, then Clarence Bask can also do it. I believe in him. All right. Let's outro everybody about where you can be found, or just kind of saying goodbye to the listeners out there. Going in reverse order. Captain Comic Geek, message you have for the listeners out there.
Make sure you pay all your bills. Feel free to send me money if you want to. I'm not going to question it. It's fine. I exist everywhere on the internet. I don't say much, but I'm there if you search my name. There you go.
Excellent. Sheila Onthalis.
You can find me twice weekly at the Come and Go Tavern on Fridays and Saturdays now. At Come and Go Tavern on Twitter and Blue Sky, and I also stream both Final Fantasy and various tactics games.
Ruben Ferdinand.
Hi, I've been Ruben. You can find me on Urban Front End on Blue Sky or on Twitter.com. By the way, certain uses of oxides can permanently damage cameras on.
Last but by no means least, Tom Greenwood.
You can probably find me on the internet as well. Message users, stay safe, and get your bloody models painted.
Slay the grey, as they say. And I have been your androgynous android late night DJ, Nathan Blades. You can find me here. You can you can find me here after I guess I unfuck OBS and whatever the hell is going wrong with it. Usually I am here on Thursdays streaming JRPGs with my Agenda Avian co-host Rafi Diel. But you will also find us in a couple months in October for Phantom Arts Fest, the third year it's been running, where a selection of fabulous gems from the Phantom Arts entertainment community will be running their own one-shots, fully different systems, fully different genres, with me acting as producer. There may be, depending on what people need, a degree of open casting, in which case you'll probably be finding me posting about that on my socials, which you can find basically everywhere. Marvelous. I haven't actually prepared like raids or anything like that. I didn't think that far ahead. Let's go see who is on the internet right now.
I see Sonny Khan. I see Berry Tart. Mallory Land.
I don't get raided, and all my farmland gets pillaged.
Oh well, you know.
Viking approach to Twitch.
I'll generate.
Take it away.
We can send. Next weekend is Fluffy Barrage, which is a VTuber Invitational Pokemon tournament. There's a handful of people who've been working very, very hard in the production of putting all that shit together. I was in charge of organizing the production for the interviews of the contestants this season, so I've been busy doing that. But we're going to pass over to another alumni who's been working on that, Apollo. Apollo likes bugs on Twitter, on Twitch, because I've not actually raided him before, and I think it would be a nice surprise. So we're going to go and get that underway. All right, that raid is now going. Right. Have a fabulous rest of your weekend. If you're in the UK, have a fabulous Bank Holiday Monday. And we will catch you all on the flip side. See you soon, everyone.